everyone, welcome back, or welcome the very first time if you've never been here before. Today we're talking about overwhelm. Specifically what overwhelm actually is, not the watered down, you're stressed, drink some water version. We're talking about the real neurological, why the fuck can't I just do the thing version. Because if you're running a business with a neurodivergent brain, overwhelm isn't an occasional inconvenience. It's a recurring system failure that shows up at the worst possible moments. Like right before a launch, right when a client really needs you, right when you finally had momentum. And if you've ever tried to just push through it and found yourself staring at your screen for 3 hours and doing absolutely nothing useful, this video is for you. Hi, my name is Shannon Schroeder. If you've never met me before, I am the F-Bomb coach. I teach neurodivergent, especially ADHD women, to build sustainable systems for their businesses. Let's start with the lie. If you just tried harder, you'd get it done. You've heard that your whole life. Maybe from teachers, maybe from family, maybe, and this one might hurt, from yourself, in your own head, on a constant loop. Here's what I want you to know. That belief is not just wrong, it's actively making things worse. It's keeping you stuck in a cycle that makes it harder to run your business, harder to serve your clients, and harder to build the thing you actually started this business for. So let's burn that belief down and replace it with something that's true. Overwhelm is not a mood. It's not a character flaw. And I know we don't say that phrase around here because it's overused. So let me be a little bit more specific. Overwhelm is a literal neurological event. It's your brain hitting a system limit. So here's what's happening when you're in it. First, we have your working memory. The brain's equivalent of RAM hits capacity. It's not that you can't handle things, it's that you ran out of room. Your brain just can't hold anymore. Your executive function starts to shut down. Planning, prioritizing, deciding, starting, all of that runs through the prefrontal cortex. And when you're overwhelmed, that system degrades really fast. And a lot of you are already struggling with that, so it just degrades even faster. Next, we have your nervous system. Your nervous system activates a threat response. Your brain doesn't distinguish between, I have 47 emails of proposal due, and there's a tiger after me. Both feel like danger. And then the decision paralysis kicks in. Everything feels equally urgent, equally impossible, and your brain freezes trying to compute a way through to get to everything. This is your brain doing exactly what brains do when they're overloaded. It's a normal response. Now here's the part that specifically applies to neurodivergent people. Research on ADHD and executive function consistently shows that neurodivergent brains carry a significantly higher cognitive load per task than neurotypical brains. They're running extra processes, compensating for executive function gaps, managing sensory input, monitoring for threats, even those threats that are just inside your head that you're thinking might come, tracking what was said 3 conversations ago because working memory isn't reliable. That's the difference between a laptop running 1 browser and a laptop running 47 tabs, 3 software updates, and a full antivirus scan simultaneously. If you asked your computer to do that, your computer would be like, I'm out. And then someone comes along and hands you another task to get done and says, just try harder. There's nothing left. Willpower doesn't come from nowhere. It runs on the same cognitive fuel that you've already burned. You've got nothing left. You're at 0. This is a resource deficit, not a motivation deficit. You want to do the things. You just have nothing left to give. And that distinction matters enormously for how you approach it. Here's something that will help you. Not all overwhelm is the same. There are 3 distinct flavors, and knowing which one you're in changes what you do about it. First up, we have information overwhelm. There is too much input, not enough processing time. Your brain is drowning in data, emails, decisions, content, conversations, and it can't sort through it fast enough. The fix here is about reducing input and creating space to process. Next up, we have decision overwhelm. This is having too many choices, unclear priorities, or a fear of making the wrong call. This one shows up a lot when you're getting ready to launch something and you're deciding on pricing, or you're looking to hire someone. Anywhere where there's no obvious right answer. The fix here is about narrowing options and building decision scaffolding. And then last up, we have emotional overwhelm. This is when rejection sensitivity, anxiety, shame, or grief piles on top of your to-do list. This is the one that makes everything else impossible because your nervous system is already at max load before you open a single task to do today. The fix starts with your nervous system, not the task list, not your to-do list. You have to start with your nervous system. You can be in one of these or all three at once. For a lot of you, you're in all three. Okay, so here's why every just buckle down, try harder instinct you have is working against you. Willpower is a prefrontal cortex function. The prefrontal cortex is the first thing that degrades when you're overwhelmed. And you may have heard me talk about flipping your lid before, right? We talked about that emotional response. The tool you're reaching for, willpower, discipline, pushing through, lives in the exact part of your brain that's already offline because your emotions have taken over. Telling yourself to muscle through overwhelm is like trying to make an emergency call on a dead phone. It doesn't matter how badly you need it to go through, it's not going to happen. The resources aren't there. This isn't defeatism. It's not like, well, there's nothing I can do. This is the physiology part. Understanding this frees you up because it means that the answer isn't more effort. You need to have a completely different approach. And here's where it gets a little bit darker before it gets better. Most neurodivergent entrepreneurs don't just experience overwhelm. They experience overwhelm followed by the immediate shame of, why can't I just do this? Everyone else can. What's wrong with me? And here's the thing about the shame. It makes the overwhelm worse. Shame is a stress response. It releases cortisol. Cortisol degrades executive function. Less executive function means even less capacity to do the thing you're trying to do, which then triggers more shame. This loop, overwhelm, you can't execute, so then you feel shame, and then there's more overwhelm. That's the reason why there are so many smart, capable, driven, neurodivergent entrepreneurs who find themselves frozen. You're just stuck. Not because you don't care, not because you're lazy, regardless of that nasty little voice in the back of your head, but because your nervous system is stuck in this loop and it is physically preventing you from moving forward. You can't shame your way out of this problem because it's a capacity problem. Okay? It doesn't work. You need a different path. So what does work? Your brain needs 4 things when it's overwhelmed. Okay? None of them are more effort. First up, empty the bucket. Your working memory needs somewhere to dump what it's holding. A brain dump. Not a to-do list, not a project plan, just a complete dump of everything in your head. This is often the single fastest way to get functional again. Your brain stops trying to hold on to all of the things and it can actually focus on the other things, the things that you need to do. Next up, reducing decision load. The more choices you have to make in an overwhelmed state, the worse it gets. Pre-made decisions, templates, routines, defaults. These are shortcuts. This gives you a cognitive infrastructure to reduce that load and free up more brain space. Next, we have lower the threat signal. You can't think your way out of a nervous system response. You have to work with your body first. Movement, breath, something physical. These things tell your brain, we're okay, it's safe, we can move forward. And it usually only takes 2 minutes. That's enough to start shifting things and getting you out of that survival mode of being in a panic. And last we have build scaffolding, not willpower. Systems that catch things before they hit your brain, that make decisions for you, that reduce the cognitive load of running a business. That's the solution you need. You need to build these systems because that's going to mean more than trying to have more discipline. Let's talk for a second about your business, because this isn't just about how you feel. Overwhelm has a dollar amount. Those leads you ghosted, not because you didn't care, but because your brain was full and the follow-up just didn't happen. That's revenue sitting in your inbox. The launch that got to 80% finished and then stopped because overwhelm hit, perfectionism kicked in, and you couldn't cross the finish line. The hours you spent replanning your week instead of working it. Replanning feels productive even though it doesn't generate any revenue. The clients you underserved when you were running on empty. The opportunities you saw and didn't act on. I'm not bringing these things up to shame you. I'm bringing them up so that you can recognize that overwhelm has a real cost, a measurable cost, and building systems that protect against it is a good business strategy to have. So let's do a quick gut check. How many of these are you hitting right now? You have 14 tabs open and you're not sure why any of them are still there. Your to-do list makes you want to close your laptop and lie on the floor. We've all been there. You've replanned your week more times than you've actually worked anything on that plan. You know exactly what needs doing and you can't start any of it. You're busy, like very, very busy, but nothing is actually getting finished. And checking email triggers something in your chest that you'd rather not feel. If you checked 2 or more of these, hi, you're in it. You're in overwhelm. And that's what we're really talking about this entire month of videos. When you're in overwhelm, the instinct is to add more systems, more tools, more strategies. But that instinct is wrong. When you're in overwhelm, the answer is less, not more. So here's the 4-step first move. Stop adding to the pile. No new commitments, no new browser tabs, no saying yes to one more thing. Freeze the inputs. 2, dump everything out of your head. Brain dump. Whether you use paper, a doc, a voice memo, doesn't matter, don't care. Just get it out. You don't have to organize it. You're not prioritizing it. You need to just get it out of your head. Next, pick one thing. Not the 3 most important things, not your top 5 priorities. One thing that's going to move the needle today. Just one. Lower the bar. Done ugly beats perfect and paralyzed every single time. Lower what done means. Make it easier and then do it. This is not a productivity framework. This is overwhelm triage. It's for right now when your brain is full and you still need to function. So what is your one thing from today? Next time you hit the wall, name it. Are you in information overwhelm, decision overwhelm, emotional overwhelm? Just naming it does something real in your brain. You're recognizing it, and it's engaging your prefrontal cortex, that front part where all of your executive function lives, in a small, manageable way, and it interrupts that spiral. It interrupts that loop that you're going to get stuck in. Okay? So try it next time you're feeling overwhelmed. It costs you nothing, and it's the first step to breaking that cycle. If you found this information useful, please hit like, subscribe, share it with someone else that you know, and I'll see you in the next video.